Jimmy Smokey Sanchez, a Mexican Mafia member from Los Angeles, California, originally repping Vario Nuevo Estrada, would be convicted in October of 2000 of multiple RICO charges, including conspiracy to aid and abet drug trafficking and the more serious conspiracy to commit murder. The murder that he had conspired to commit was of an individual we have covered recently on this channel, John Stranger Turkscak, who was a part of a very violent internal power struggle with another faction of La M. Jimmy Smokey Sanchez was well-liked, respected, and repped Vario Nuevo Estrada to the fullest. He has since passed away, but today's video is going to tell his story, Vario Nuevo Estrada's history, and a couple significant moments in the Mexican Mafia's history that Jimmy Smokey Sanchez was a part of.
Gary. Vincent Bruce is acting as his own attorney while fighting to stay out of the gas chamber. And he sent shockwaves through the legal system when he subpoenaed nearly 20 convicted murderers and attempted murderers to testify as witnesses during the penalty phase of his trial, most serving life terms in the state's maximum security penitentiaries. Prison gang specialist Rodney Elliott, who is under strict orders not to discuss the Bruce case, did say a red flag goes up when you see a witness list similar to Bruce's.
Anytime you put that many people of that nature together, your suspicions are heightened and you're a little curious about their intentions or purposes. 9
of the Bruce witnesses came from here, Pelican Bay, the maximum security state prison where problem inmates are locked down 23 hours a day, chained and escorted wherever they go. Among them, reputed Aryan Brotherhood prison gang boss John Stinson, classified high escape risk. Mexican Mafia hitmen Rene Boxer Enriquez, Daniel Cuate Grajeda, who once plotted to assassinate a district attorney, and Henry Indio Carlos, classified dangerous to officers. According to sheriff's records, these 4 and the 5 others from Pelican Bay, just during previous stays in the LA County Jail, have been responsible for at least 7 attacks on deputies and 25 assaults on other inmates, including 2 murders. Sheriff's Deputy Elliott would only talk in general terms about high-risk inmates.
Even inside the system, they're as ruthless and dangerous as anybody would be on the outside of the system. It's kind of a misconception that because they're in custody, that they're not capable of committing violence.
So Fox News has learned the 9 Bruce witnesses here at Pelican Bay in the last 2 weeks became the focus of what one insider calls an extraordinary security mission. All were first bused from Pelican Bay to Folsom Penitentiary, and from there to Wasco Prison near Bakersfield. Here at Wasco, the 9 inmates, all seen as escape risks, were loaded onto 2 separate LA County Sheriff's helicopters, 4 in one, 5 in the other. This artist's rendition, drawn from details obtained by Fox News, shows how pads were placed over the eyes of each prisoner, taped and strapped in place, blindfolded so they don't know where they are and can't see to attack. They were waist chained and handcuffed, legs shackled and chained to the floor. 3 heavily armed, specially trained SWAT officers rode in each chopper. 2 smaller helicopters flew behind each one as chase aircrafts. Arriving at the New Century Jail in South Los Angeles, the inmates were offloaded one at a time under heavy security. Here they were kept in separate cells during their 13-day stay. They were transported to court by themselves in a sheriff's bus. At least 3 security escort cars on the constant lookout for trouble. Inside the criminal courts building, 3 deputies escorted each prisoner to and from court, and as many as 11 deputies were in the courtroom at any given time. The judge banned all cameras as inmates were chained inside the witness box during their testimony. But despite this massive security ritual, inside Mexican Mafia heavyweight Daniel Grajeda's cell, deputies at one point found a 10-inch jail-made knife or shank crafted from a toilet fixture and stuffed under his mattress. Fox News has also learned during this period, sheriff's deputies discovered information confirming Mexican Mafia plans to hit a Hollywood actor who supposedly disrespected their organization.
These guys.
Meanwhile, the Vincent Bruce death penalty trial continues, as it cost $12,000 just to bust the Pelican Bay witnesses from prison and back, another $16,000 for their helicopter ride, and an estimated $15,000 in security manpower just for the 3 days the Pelican Bay contingent was in court.
Add in multiple bus rides for other inmates, escorts, jail personnel, and court costs, and estimated expenses for just the 13-day visit easily tops the $100,000 mark, a considerable cost to the taxpayer. So who is Bruce, and what besides his retrial is actually going on here? There are different theories on that, and we'll have that story tomorrow.
What's going on, you guys? Welcome back. Another episode of Greenlit Gang TV. Thank you guys so much for checking out the video today. Really quick, before jumping into it, though, if you would, please like, subscribe, and leave a comment. We just hit 26K subscribers a couple days ago, but as you know, if you've been watching, tuning in at all, 30K is the newest goal. Again, thank you to each and every one of you who has continued to watch and support in any way, shape, or form. I really don't think you guys understand, man, how much I appreciate you guys liking, commenting, subscribing, watching. I really do keep track of my videos. I really do keep track of the comments. I do work a full-time job. I work a lot of hours, but I really do my best to keep up on this channel and all the activity that comes with it. Okay, so as we talked about in the intro, we're going to be talking about Jimmy Smokey Sanchez out of LA, originally from the Vario Nuevo Estrada area. Let's read from Prison Chronicles, a great social media page. Go check them out. They're also on YouTube. Read from their post. We're going to get into background on the gang V&E itself, and then we're going to jump into some important moments that Jimmy Smokey Sanchez was a part of. Jimmy Smokey Sanchez from LA, originally from Vario Nuevo Estrada, was charged with and convicted of racketeering, drug dealing, and conspiracy to commit murder in the early 2000s. Sanchez was among 40 defendants charged in a major federal indictment targeting the Mexican Mafia's operations. In October of 2000, Sanchez was found guilty on numerous charges, including the aiding and abetting drug trafficking and the conspiracy to commit murder charges. And that conspiracy to commit murder charges was for his friend, Mariano El Chuy Martinez, and he was trying to kill John Stranger Turkscak, a guy we've done a video on, famous for the stabbing of George Floyd's convicted killer, the ex-cop Derek Chauvin, an infamous Mexican Mafia, figure in that entire world. I don't want to give too much away on him because I made a video about him. Go check him out. Type his name into the YouTube bar there and watch my video on him, but he's just got an absolutely crazy story of his own. But yeah, Jimmy Smokey Sanchez was convicted of trying to kill him. We'll get into that more in just a minute. A little history on Vario Nuevo Estrada. Been around since the 1940s, also known as VNE or VNE 13. Criminal street gang founded in Boyle Heights. So many gangs out of there, man. In the Estrada Courts housing projects in VNE, we'll talk about so many gangs out of there. One of 34 gangs in a 15 square mile east of downtown LA. It formed because the government relocated many poor families in the early 1940s. And from there, it took off. Now, many of you are probably like, why the hell did you post that Operation Pelican Bay drop? What the hell does that have to do with our guy, Jimmy Smokey Sanchez? Well, it's got a lot to do with him because he was one of those 9 individuals flown from Pelican Bay. That is his picture right up there I put. Our great page, Prison Chronicles, is the one that supplied that picture on their own page. Go check it out. But that is him. And in the comment section, you read there, people go, that's Boxer Enriquez. No, it's not. They look kind of similar. It's Jimmy Smokey Sanchez. Yes, he was one of, I think it says in the story, some 20 individuals in total. 9 of them, Mexican Mafia members, including Boxer, the Grajeda brothers. We got to do a video on them. I finally decided when I watched that little clip that we are going to do a video on the Grajeda brothers. But yes, Jimmy Smokey Sanchez was a part of that. And I want to say this. Go check out Renee's channel. Renee Boxer Enriquez's channel. He does a great job. He's got, fuck, man. That guy's got access to everything. Just a really good job with the editing. He's got phone calls. He's got the full story because he was there on Operation Pelican Drop. So go check his page out. He talks about it too. Does a lot better job than me. And I just think you guys would really enjoy his content. So I want to make sure I mention that. And I do get a lot of good information out of some of the comments on these posts. It just kind of goes back and forth. Because some people say when they see the picture of Jimmy being carried, to that helicopter, oh, he's going to snitch, right? He's a high-profile witness. No, he was subpoenaed along with all these other high-profile gang members out of different prisons across California. And so I just want to make that very, very clear. Okay, now, getting into the RICO. He gets convicted of the RICO in 2000. This is an appeal that was filed in October of 2004, okay? The defendants in this case, the big ones that were named, Frank Fernandez, Roy David Gabaldon, goes by Spider, also a Mexican Mafia member, David Gonzalez Contreras, Dominic Gonzalez, Jimmy, our guy, Smokey Sanchez, and his wife, Suzanne Schoenberg Sanchez. Collectively, defendants were convicted on a variety of RICO and drug trafficking charges relating to their participation or involvement with the Mexican Mafia or the MA. In 1999, a grand jury in Los Angeles filed a 29-count first superseding indictment, which charged defendants and 18 others with a number of racketeering, conspiracy, and related counts. And it goes on to list what they get convicted of. We already know our guy, Smokey Sanchez, was convicted of the drug trafficking and the conspiracy to commit murder. And they had another big-time Mexican Mafia member who flipped. He was kind of the big witness in this particular case who ratted, and he's mentioned quite a bit in this appeal. His name, Max Tortovisco. The only picture I got of him was just online. You type in his name. There's just one picture you can click on, take a picture. It's obviously tied to a YouTube video. You can go check that out. But Max Tortovisco was his name. He was an important, and this reads in the appeal. Max Tortovisco was an important MA member who testified for the prosecution about the structure and activities of the organization. Tortovisco testified that the MA is the gang of all gangs. It is an organization that wields a significant amount of control over several California prisons, jails, as well as street gangs in the LA area. The MA asserts its control through violence and intimidation. Again, sorry about my voice, guys. Water break here. God. Man, but we take pride in no AI, right? No AI. We don't give a shit about AI, man. Off the rip, bro. Just phone and a computer. Tortovisco testified that the MA has both full members and associates. An individual becomes a member of the organization by receiving the votes of 3 members and by showing loyalty to the organization through committing murder, assault, extortion, or drug distribution. And the MA has a number of important rules. Members are not to testify against each other. Yeah, that didn't work out. Members are not to engage in homosexual acts. Can't really speak to that. Members are not to engage in sexual activities with the wives or girlfriends of other members. I guarantee you that rule got broken. No one, not even a member, should attempt to kill or harm a member or the MA of the MA without the vote of 3 members. And I guarantee you they broke that rule. So just out of those 4, I can guarantee you that 3 of them were broken all the time. Tortovisco testified that the key to the MA's power was its ability to threaten the members of smaller gangs as well as others with assault and even death if they did not comply with the MA's demands. In particular, the MA's power within the prison system gave it leverage even over other gang members. Tortovisco testified that MA members outside of the prison system were engaged in attempts to, quote, organize street gangs in various parts of LA. A group of MA members or associates would meet with the members of smaller gangs and explain the MA's, quote, program. The gang was to stop engaging in violence without the MA's approval and would receive a measure of protection from the organization. And the gang was expected to pay the all-encompassing tax. Drug sales, any other proceeds, it is what it is. The MA actually strove to minimize inter-gang violence so each gang would be more efficient in its drug-selling activities, which means more money and more taxes to the MA. However, if a gang did not comply with its demands, it would be, quote, placed on the green light list. Tortovisco testified at trial about the progress that MA had made in organizing its gangs in East LA and the West Side area of Los Angeles. Now, evidence regarding the defendants. Defendants Fernandez and Smokey Sanchez were identified as members of the MA. Spider, Gabaldon, Contreras, and Gonzalez were identified as associates. Spider would obviously become, Gabaldon would obviously become a member. I'm putting his picture up there, and he's listed on that big California Mexican Mafia list. Schoenberg, the wife of Smokey Sanchez, was described as being associated with the MA because she was married to Sanchez. The government presented evidence that all of the appellants were involved in different aspects of the MA's taxing of drug trafficking by street gangs. Fernandez, co-defendant Martinez, and Tortovisco led an effort to organize the street gangs in the San Fernando Valley San Fernando Valley area in late 1998. Gonzalez, who was Fernandez's stepson, and Contreras were responsible for collecting tax money from gangs in the valley on behalf of Fernandez and the MA. Spider Gavaldon was involved in other efforts by Martinez and Toribisco to organize the gangs in the southeast area of Los Angeles and again to collect taxes for the MA. Although Smokey Sanchez was incarcerated during the relevant time period, he was able to collect tax payments from gangs on the outside through the help of Toribisco. Toribisco testified that his wife, Schoenberg, would deliver the payments to Smokey Sanchez during her visits to her husband in prison. In addition to testimony by Toribisco and former co-defendant Jesus Orochin, the government presented hundreds of taped conversations which corroborated the appellant's efforts to organize and tax the drug distribution street gangs. Not just in drug taxing teams, but in direct drug distribution themselves. Finally, the government presented evidence of conspiracies to commit murder that underlie both the RICO and Vicar counts. So basically they're saying this is why we justified these charges. Some of these charges related to a conflict. Toribisco described it as a, quote, war that developed between the two factions. Those two factions that happened in early 1998 were John Stranger Turkscak and his associate Jesse Shady Detivis confronted another, which was led by Mariano Chuy Martinez, Fernandez, our guy Jimmy Smokey Sanchez, and Toribisco. Now, remember, Chuy Martinez and Smokey Sanchez were each part of VNE, Vario Nuevo Estrada. Just important to remember. The government presented evidence that Martinez, Fernandez, and Sanchez had approved the murders of Turkscak and Detivis and had discussed plans to carry them out. And then that infamous attempted hit on Easter Sunday in 1998. Toribisco, Rochin, and others actually made an unsuccessful attempt on Stranger Turkscak. That's crazy, man. The government presented more evidence of a conspiracy to commit murder unrelated to the Turkscak dispute. That conspiracy involved Fernandez, our guy, Chuy Martinez, and Gonzalez, who discussed killing James Bouncer Lopez because of Lopez's interference with the collection of drug taxes in the valley. And then it goes on to say Turkscak became an informant for the FBI. Again, go check out my video on him, man. It's a lot of good information on that and provided a great deal of information about the activities of the MA. And then the sentences that got handed down. The jury reached a verdict on most counts in October of 2000. The jury convicted appellants on most of the counts charged. Fernandez and Smokey Sanchez, they were given life. The remaining defendants, Gavaldon Spider, 262 months. Contreras, 150 months. Gonzalez, 210 months. The wife of Smokey Sanchez, Schoenberg, 51 months. It's a lot of time, man. A lot of time. Really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of Jimmy Smokey Sanchez. Until next time, peace.